Okay, it's 5 after, so we'll go ahead and kick things off. This is the Technical Advisory Council meeting of the Confidential Computing Consortium. I'm your host for today, standing in for Dan Middleton, who's the TAC chair. He's attending KubeCon and so is unable to run today's meeting. So I'll go ahead and read the welcome slide. The Confidential Computing Consortium is a community-focused open source organization. Everyone here is welcome. Every project meeting, our criteria is welcome. We're a transparent, collaborative community. We as members, contributors, and leaders pledge to make participation in our community harassment-free experience for everyone. So I think now is when I'll read the antitrust policy notice first. Since this is a collaboration of competitors, we have to adhere to the antitrust policy. I think Dan does a great job of that. But if anybody catches a whiff of something that sounds like collusion, please interrupt me because we are not allowed to collude. I think this is the time when Dan encourages new members who haven't introduced themselves to the group on at least 2 occasions to come off mute and introduce yourselves. We're always looking for new members and delight in hearing folks introduce themselves for the first time. So please, if there's anybody who's participating for the first or second time today, come off mute now and tell us your names and hear us welcome you.
I will be the first. My name is Hui Chunyang. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Huiqiang.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'm a senior software engineer from Ant Group, and I'm currently working on the Outcome project, and today I'm here to do this Outcome's annual review for today.
Well, fantastic, Wei Chunyang. So you're
Thank you.
the actual the speaker, the highlighted speaker today. So we'll look forward to hearing your update once.
Okay.
And welcome to the group. It's great that you're joining in for the first time. Our speaker.
Hey, Alec, I'm Thomas Arjono here, just rejoining the TAC. I think I've been absent for probably a year just because of calendar clashes. Everybody seems all my meetings are like Thursdays, the same time as this slot. I'm sure everybody has the same problem. I started attending when I think Dave Taylor was running, and then Dan Milton took over. But hopefully I can join more often and just ignore my other meetings.
Well, welcome back, Thomas. It's wonderful to have you back. We're always happy to have you join whenever's possible for you.
Hello. I'm Duan from Ant Group and the maintainer of Outcome. I'm sorry, my English is not good. So I'd like to introduce my colleague, Hui Chunyang, to make a brief review of our project and share the current progress. Thank you.
Well, I don't want to start the meeting with a disagreement right off the bat, but I have to disagree with your assessment of your English skills. I found them to be very good indeed, and we'll look forward to hearing the Oclam review today.
Okay.
Any other newcomers? Okay, if not, we'll go ahead and get to the agenda. I'll do what Dan does, and that's skip roll call. We don't have any votes today, so I don't think we need to find out if we've got a roll call. And we'll get straight into the business. I don't have any announcements to make. Ben, are you aware of any announcements that I should be making, but I've forgotten?
No, I am not.
All right, great. Well, then we'll go straight into the agenda. We're thinking that we might get Mark Novak presenting a patterns document today where he's talking about attesting. I can't remember exactly the document, but it's attestation of verifiers. So I would very much like to hear that, but he's got an interruption that will prevent him from joining on time. If he joins us, we'll expand the agenda to include his topic. But if If not, then the meeting will end a little bit early today. Okay, so with that, Wei-Chun Yang, if you want to share your screen, I don't know if you've got any slides to present or if it's just going to be a verbal presentation. Do you have some slides?
Yes. Yeah. I will share the screen.
Great.
May I?
Yes, please.
Okay. Can you see my desktop?
I can.
Okay. Okay, so I'm honored to be here, and today I'm representing the Outcome team to make this annual review. And hello again, my name is Hui-Chun Yang, and I'm a software engineer from Ant Group, and I'm currently working on the Outcome project. Okay, so today there will be 3 parts. In the first part, I will make a brief introduction about Outcome. And in the second part, I will talk about our current status by answering several questions, which I believe is required by the tech team. And in the last part, I will talk about the progress of our project since our last annual review. Okay, so first, what is Outcome? Outcome is a memory-safe multi-process library OS, which is specifically catering for TE scenarios. And the mission of Outcome is to empower everyone to run every application inside the TE. And we are trying to make it true. And the Outcome project was first created in 2019 by Ant Group, which is a leading financial service provider in China. So Outcome was originated from an idea to explore the possibility to make multitasking library OS more efficient and secure. And our paper was accepted by Apollos 2020, which demonstrated its correctness, uniqueness, and novelty. Then in 2021, Outcome was donated by Ant Group to CCC, as we all know. And besides Intel SGX, Outcome is also compatible with other TE platforms, including HyperEnclave, which is a software TE solution based on virtualization, and also Intel TDX. So Outcome support for TDX is an ongoing work, and hopefully we can deliver it soon in the future. At last, here are 2 links to our project. The left is our website, and the right is our GitHub address. So Outcome is designed with these 3 fatal features. Firstly, it is efficient multitasking. So Outcome uses a single address space architecture, and multiple processes can share the same enclave, which brings blazingly fast process startup and inter-process communication. And the second feature is memory safety. So Outcome is the first SGX library OS written in Rust. So Rust is designed to be memory safe, and Rust memory safety is without any performance degradation, and thus it is used more and more widely in system software engineer these days. So Rust can prevent non-pointer access, dangling pointers, and data races on the programming language level. And the last feature is easy to use. So Outcome is configured with a JSON file, and with just several commands, users can put their application running in enclave without any code change. Okay, so behind the curtain, what is it like? So this is the architecture of Outcome. So here, the host OS is not trusted, and the user applications along with the Outcome kernel is trusted, and is located in the TCB, which is protected by TE. And so Occlum kernel implements all of the essential kernel subsystems, including virtual memory management, process management, inter-process communication, like signals, pipes, etc. And also, we have the file system and network system. Okay, so here comes to the second part. So for the technical charter, the progression status and the project license, there is no update. And for the fourth question, the budget. So I don't think we have or use any. So the answer here is also no. But we are very interested in the budget for CI machines and maybe community activity. And at last, for the OpenSSF badge, we didn't notice that until we saw the governance doc of CCC. So currently we don't have it, but we would very like to evaluate and add this badge in the future. As for the development, we officially and here comes the last part. So it has been over a year since our last annual review, and a lot of things have happened, and I will just show some of the highlights of our project. So first, several new demos are officially supported, including but not limited to these below applications. So for example, the large language models are extremely hot these days, and Occlum can support ChatGLM2 with over 6 billion parameters, which is an open source LLM fine-tuned for Chinese dialogues. And also, we officially support MySQL and distributed PyTorch, which are popular applications. And we also support software TPM, which is a software-based TPM emulator based on libTPMs. And also PaddlePaddle, a simple, efficient, and extensible deep learning framework. What's more, we refined our Spark with Occlum solution into product level, which can help our customer to run unchanged Spark applications with end-to-end protections. So it has been applied in the real-world business of Ant Group. For example, the Unchained Mouse privacy computing platform. So for the development part, we officially support EDMM on SGX platforms to achieve the secure dynamic EPC management. For those who may not know, EDMM is an important feature of Intel SGX v2. So with several new instructions, it can dynamically increase, reduce, and change permission of the EPC page during runtime. So we redesigned part of our memory management logics by using page fault based on-demand commit and newly introduced page level management and new user space layout to utilize the capabilities of EDMM. And thanks to this, we achieved higher security, faster startup time, and better user experience. Based on our performance test, after using EDMM, the Spark GBT demo total running time decreased 11.3, and the startup time decreased over 90%. And this feature is currently under actively evaluation by several of our internal customers. As for the I/O performance, we officially support IOU ring for network subsystem. So traditionally, performing I/O in Occlum requires extra overhead because it needs to switch the context for trusted world and untrusted world. And thus, Outcome is not very friendly for IO-bound applications. So previously, Outcome's IO-related host calls are blocking and are passively woken up by the host kernel when the IO is done. So with IO ring, we don't block and sleep anymore. We can actively polling. We can active poll for the IO completion. The application's blocking IO calls will be transformed to IO ring request in the network subsystem. And we also have a kernel thread polling. So we help our users to use IO ring transparently in order to cover the performance costs that SGX must pay. So with this feature, you can see that the iPerf3 benchmark shows 123% performance increase. As for the deployment, to address the problem of real-world use cases, Outcome designed the init RA solution, which is a unique flow to minimize the code change of applications, which is Outcome kernel to init process to application flow. And by doing this, the remote attestation stage can be naturally introduced into the init process. Users can utilize our template implementation and only with some configuration, the application can get the end-to-end protection without code chain. What's more, Outcome supports PKU as a security enhancement, which brings a hardware level isolation for Outcome's kernel space and user space. Also, Outcome newly added support for AIMAX and shared memory. AIMAX can be used to accelerate the AI applications. And shared memory is a general IPC method used by many popular applications. And for stability, our team utilized GitHub hosted VMs and our own cloud VMs to achieve the fully automated CI and CD by using GitHub Actions. CI includes a lot of tests. For example, software tests, hardware tests, code coverage, benchmarks, and stress tests, and etc. And our CD includes releasing the Docker image, releasing our test image, and release the bin packages. We also bring all of our documents online, hosted on the ReadDoc website. As for the community development, our main project has received over 1,300 stars and more than 200 forks. We also have a big WeChat group with over 130 developers, asking questions and sharing their experience. In 2023, we held the first Outcome meetup in Beijing. During the meetup, we shared our current status and our future plans. And we also invite some of our customers to share their best practice in the industry. More than 20 developers from all over China showed up, and there were over 700 viewers online in total. And that is all. Okay, thank you.
Fantastic.
I will stop the sharing.
That's fantastic. It feels like this project is really taking hold and you're getting some great community feedback and great participation. When was the meetup? When in 2023?
I think it is around March. Yeah. Similar times today.
Are you going to have a second one this year?
We are planning on that, but we haven't choose the date, the exact date yet.
Understood. You mentioned that you were wondering about a budget request for community outreach. Is that something that
Yeah.
you've written down and formalized, or is it something that you're still forming ideas around?
So we knew that there's budget for CCC's project, but we actually don't know how to apply for those budget. And we were thinking that if we have the budget, we can use the budget to do what I said before.
Sure, a community outreach program.
Yeah.
Well, since Stan's not here, I don't want to dig into a budget conversation, but I'm going to encourage you to join this meeting at the next installment, work with us to get that discussion on the agenda, and we can certainly talk it up, send a proposal into the TAC and especially to Dan, and we can talk
Okay.
about it.
Yeah, sure.
Does anyone else have questions that they'd like to address to Wei-Chin Yang?
Maybe one question. Which are you connecting, supporting systems that are remote attestation aware to receive secrets into the enclave?
Yeah, that's a good question. So for Outcome applications, so we mainly support the applications that can be directly running on Linux, and
Okay.
because it is easy for us to run. But if the application itself wants to use remote attestation, they will need to do some changes. Because we expose our we expose the remote attestation APIs in our a device in Auckland. So the application needs to do IO control to the device and to get, for example, get code or get report. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Okay, well, if not, then thank you for the wonderful presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Let me go back to the agenda slides. I don't think we have any more agenda. I haven't checked to see if Mark Novak has been able to join the meeting. It's only 30 past, so I doubt it.
I will say, he mentioned that Sal might be able to kick off his discussion. And Sal, I don't know if he reached out to you, so I don't want to just volunteer you for something that you might not know anything about. But if you're aware, I see that you did mention something in the chat, so maybe you've got this.
I can speak to that. So we are in the GRC going through and setting up different patterns. We have drafted the first one, and it is in regards to confidential payloads. So in the chat, there is a direct link to the current draft of that. What we would really love is to get as many eyes and comments on that as possible, so that we can really standardize and understand as we continue to build these out, what needs to be included and what we need to be really paying attention to. So that's just a note. We can do this on the call or asynchronously. Probably best to have Mark present for discussing it. But in the meantime, please take a look at that and give it a read.
Let me ask at least one person who's not a member of the Governance, Risk, and Compliance Special Interest Group to please give us a thumbs up if you're able to access that document. Sometimes we've had permissions problems.
I see that I can, but I'm not sure that there is a way to add comments. I think that it's in the viewer only mode.
Is there not a click on the top right where you can get into review mode? Are you signed in first?
Yes, I'm signed in, and there I'm not sure that it was shared with the commenter option. Maybe just
Yeah,
you.
so I have sent a note to Mark about this. He owns this document. It is read only, unless you are, but I believe you can comment on it if you are doing it with a Linux Foundation email at this time, but we will get that fixed as soon as he sees my message. We should be able to access it.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, I'm signed in and I do get that suggesting pull down menu. So
Oh,
I suspect Mark just didn't expand
yeah.
the list of people who are suggesters to include the entire world.
And Ben just made a note that you can comment on it now. It's been fixed.
Oh,
Maybe.
so it should change now if I refresh. Yes, thank you.
Well, hey, at least we got one thing done today, in addition to the Oclam annual update. There are no other items on the agenda that I know of. So other than encouraging folks to help our GRC special interest group by reviewing that document. I think it's a really cool document. I know Mark spent a lot of time on it and we've all reviewed it. So would appreciate your inputs there. Other than that, I think we can adjourn the meeting early and give everybody back an hour and a half of precious time. Oh, Yash, I see you have your hand up.
So, hello everyone. So I'd just like to point out that the mentor program docs are on GitHub right now. So thank you, Sal, for starting them up. I have left a review and I would encourage TAC members to review the docs as well, because the mentoring program for LFX, the term 2, the project deadline submission will be sometime in mid-April. So CCC projects have a month to submit their project ideas. So our goal is to have the docs finalized by next week, and then we send an email to the project leads to start thinking of ideas to submit them for the mentoring term 2. So I'll link the so I link the pull request that Sal has started with the docs. Please send in your reviews, and hopefully we can get a couple of programs, a couple of projects signed up for the term 2 mentor program. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Does anybody else have business that they'd like to add to the agenda since we've got some extra time? Please speak up if you do.
Alec,
All right.
I have something not to add to the group agenda, but I messaged you privately about it.
I see that, and I
Okay.
don't know if Mike Bursell is on the call. He might be at KubeCon. He's not. I see Benjamin shaking his head. So, sure. Why don't we just stay on the call if you'd like, Nathaniel? I sent you
Sure.
some mail about that earlier this morning.
I did. I replied.
Awesome. Then let's then yeah, just stay on the call and we can take advantage of this, and anybody else who wants to discuss supply chain root of trust can certainly stay on the call as well. But before we do that, I'll just go ahead and adjourn the meeting. And hey Ben, do you know if we need to go ahead and drop this call and join each other separately in order to not have this be recorded, or can you turn off the recording?
If you give me like a minute, I can turn off the recording.
Great, then let's do that. Let's go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Thanks everybody for your participation. We'll meet again in 2 weeks. And the meeting is now adjourned, and Nathaniel and I will have a post-meeting conversation about supply chain root of trust. Thanks, everybody. Hey, Nathaniel. Let me see if
Hey, how's it going? I'm trying to pull up this document, so give me one moment.
I can share.